Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets Crypto, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Friday, the 8th of May.
Which screen has nothing?
Good point. Hang on, wait a second. Thanks for catching it so quickly. I won't restart the webinar. It happens occasionally. All right, better? Okay, cool. All right, let's start again. All right. Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets Crypto, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Friday, the 8th of May. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own chance. I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at ctmcrypto.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of 3 days. All right, great. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin weekly chart, where we are still holding above the weekly middle band, although obviously we've given back currently about slightly over half of the gains this week. In terms of the daily middle band, we are still comfortably over the 50 DMA, very comfortably over the 50 DMA, and comfortably over the daily middle band, which is at 78,000. We are still we've had kind of almost a visual test of the 200 DMA, but we actually didn't quite make it up to it. I was looking for a pullback yesterday, and we have seen that pullback, and I wanted that pullback to deliver a significant move below the 70 level on the RSI, because on the retest, which I'm expecting, we could set up a nice looking daily RSI 5 sell signal break, and we have seen that pullback. The next obvious move is to go back and retest the high at 82.8k. That obviously will give us another test of the 200 DMA, and that seems the obvious point of failure. We also saw a retracement on equities. I'm expecting that retest too. It could go a little higher. But in all honesty, I'm thinking, I call this move on equities, and I'm really expecting this to stop the topping process here. The war, basically, I wrote a post 2 months ago on the main Substack, and I was talking about I think the title was "There is no iron taco." But what I said was that really there would need to be a cooperation in terms of a peace here, and I suggested that it might be. The problem is, basically, for 2 months, both sides have been willing at any time to accept the other one's surrender. The Iranians, as far as they're concerned, and I think with some cause, think that they won the war. And as Trump has been saying every day over that period, obviously he feels the Americans have won the war. So they're basically still waiting for the other side to surrender. Neither side has surrendered, and I don't think either side is going to surrender. So this is basically the reason we're not having any talks. But while this has all been happening, oil reserves across the world have been basically being mopped up, and the amount of oil coming into the markets is basically, supply is down 10 million barrels a day plus from demand. That will reach a crunch point. I think it'll reach that crunch point in the next 2 or 3 weeks maximum. And when that price point, when that happens, there will be a price discovery process where that 10 million barrels a day surplus of demand over supply will have to be corrected. A price will need to be found where that 10 million barrels a day of demand disappears because the oil is now too expensive and there is no demand at that price. That's likely to be brutal. I think it's going to take everything down. Well, it's going to take oil up, obviously, but I think it's going to take everything else down, except possibly the dollar. And that at that stage, I'm thinking we're going to make these bear flag targets. So that bear flag target is 60.1k on the Bitcoin chart. I was asked yesterday, not in the webinar, but I was asked what I thought the odds of the Bitcoin breaking over the 200 DMA and going up from there. And basically, I just gave it a weird things sometimes happen rating, which was, I said 15%. But really, is there, in my view, any rational reason for that to happen? And the answer is no. Is there any rational reason why the market got up here? Well, not from an actual rational point of view, no. But the rational point of view that I put forward a couple of weeks ago was that if we were making a significant high here, or a major high here, then I would quite like to see 2 trend lines hit. and we did something similar just before the COVID crash. And those trend lines have been hit, and they can overthrow slightly, but I think it's not going to. I don't think we're going to go up a great deal from here. I think this is about to come to crisis. I think the long denial that there is a serious problem here is likely to come to an end soon. As and when that happens, I think we're going to retest these lows, and we'll see if those lows hold. But it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't. All right, looking at Solana, no signals here either. Obviously, we're holding up. We hadn't gained as much this week, but we're holding on slightly better to what has been gained. We saw a retracement here that didn't quite make it to the 70 level, but we can certainly set up potentially a weak sell signal here, even if it isn't a full one. On the hourly chart, no divergence either. Made it up to 90.41 yesterday. I'm obviously we've got an IHS here with the target 97.66. That's been showing absolutely no sign of playing out. It might play out possibly. It is obviously still a valid IHS. We never got back. If we'd gone under the 81.31 area, which we didn't, we were 7 ticks away, then that would have been invalidated. It's still currently valid. It's still technically possible. I'm not seeing any particular reason to think it will be made, but it's possible. All right, Ethereum. Ethereum is still holding below the weekly middle band, and we've given back most of the gains this week. In terms of the daily chart, we weren't really in a good position to set up sell signal anyway, because we'd only just reached the 70 level, and the retracement yesterday was the harshest on these. In terms of the daily chart, we actually went back below the daily middle band, which we haven't done on the others, and we're getting pretty close to a test of 50 DMA. On the hourly chart, no divergence. Does this look like overall a bear flag? Yes. Could this be a little bull flag setting up a retest this high? I'd quite like to see a retest of this high here. That high is at 24.6649, because that could set up a double top. But at the moment, I'm not seeing much reason to think it's going to get made. So we shall see. All right, great. In that case, let's have a quick look at questions, of which we have none. Yeah, no worries, mate. I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care and have a wonderful weekend. All right, cheers.